All right, guys. So I wanted to take you through a FSBO strategy that, over the years I've kind of refined a little bit. And I think especially for, agents looking to have something where they can get organic leads, I think for sale by owners are such a huge untapped market. And if you get really, really good at this, guys, you can get leads like all the time. But like anything else, you have to be consistent. So what I'm going to show you is how you get started. I'm going to show you the method. I'm going to show you how to add massive value to a for sale by owner, but it's up to you to do this. Make the calls consistently and then follow up with the for sale by owner consistently. So let's get started. So let's talk about FSBO mastery. So everything we do these days, I think you guys got to be in the mindset of how can I add the most value, right? It isn't about selling something. It isn't about pitching something. It's the same kind of motto we use in EXP. When I meet a new agent, I'm not there to try to sell them on something. I'm there to find out what they need and see how I can help, right? And that might just simply be helping you get leads, or it could be coaching, or it could be anything. So that's the same way you want to approach a potential agent for EXP, the same way you're going to approach clients for EXP. And really the best way to approach people in general to make friends and build a network that's huge is add massive value. Okay. So always keep that in mind, front of mind. Okay. So hold on, let me see if I can switch this slide here. Okay. Got it. Okay, so what is a FSBO? A FSBO is just simply a seller raising their hand and saying, yes, I want to sell my home, right? They think that they are saving money, but really most of the time they're costing themselves money and time, and they're not marketing their property properly. So you're actually saving a for sale by owner. You're actually there to make them money, and they need to, through this system, they will understand that, because most people think that you just, put a little sign in front of your house, people will drive by and buy it, or you put it up on Zillow, somebody's going to come in. But there's a lot of steps to buying a home, as some of that have now done a deal. It's just not as easy as simply being like, oh, okay, put a sign out front, hope people drive by, look it up on Zillow. So just know that FSBOs are raising their hand saying, I want to sell my home, and it's up to you to add so much value that eventually, because like 90% of for sale by owners will eventually use a realtor. You guys got to understand that. It's not that, you really have to pitch them on anything. They're going to be ready to, to list the property with you at some point, but you have to be there, right? You have to be the person who's been adding value, sometimes for weeks at a time. This is a follow-up system. This is not hunting. This is farming. Okay. Okay. So FSBOs don't hide. Okay. So guys, FSBOs are literally right on Zillow. If you look here at the bottom, this is a screenshot that I took. And hold on, let me see if I can get a better picture of this. Nope. Okay. So if you can see here, I'm not being able to point to it, but on the bottom right of the screen, it says property owner, right? So that's the phone number right there on the bottom right there. That's a screenshot I took from Zillow. These guys aren't hiding. They're giving you their information. They're saying, I want to sell my house. Can somebody bring me a buyer? That's what they're saying, right? So here's the deal. Here's your script, okay? Here's your script for when you call for sale by owner. So let me actually try to go back here. So you call the the FSBOs are putting their numbers online. You're going to call them up. You're going to, my suggestion would be go on Zillow and then write down 10 phone numbers, write the addresses down, maybe do a little bit of research on the addresses, right? And then just start making your calls. I mean, imagine if you just make 10 calls a day, right? 10 for sale by owner calls a day. I would suggest you actually pick an area you're interested in, that you want to get good at. I would pick an area that has higher priced homes. If you're excited about Lake Mary, I want you to focus on Lake Mary. If you're excited about Oviedo, I want you to focus on Oviedo. But try to also make sure you pick some place that has some great price points and the place that people want to live, because you're going to get higher price homes and higher commissions, okay? So make your list of 10 for sale by owners. Call them consistently every single day. You make 10 calls every single day. You're making 50 calls a week. You should be able to set 3 to 4 appointments for that week or the following week. It's just consistency, guys. You're going to get better and better at making these calls, but I'm going to make it really easy for you. Here's your script, okay? And I've developed this script over the years because, for sale by owners are kind of hip to the fact that agents are always trying to sell them on trying to list the property with them. I don't want you to do the opposite of what everybody else is doing. Everybody else is going in there with some kind of pitch immediately to list or whatever the case may be. With you, I want you to get face to face with them first so you can build a relationship. That's all I want from this call. Okay. And a lot of agents are using have used the tactic like, oh, I have a buyer, interested in your home, and I just want to go preview the home. Well, it's kind of disingenuous if you don't have a buyer. And you might have buyers looking in the area, but if you don't have a buyer for their home, I don't even want to play that game because I think a lot of agents are doing that phone call for sale by owners as well. So here's your script. Hi, I'm calling about the house on 123 Main Street. Is the home still for sale? And this is what I ask them. I want to know the next time you're showing the home. Do you have anyone coming to see the home in the near future? And you can pause there or kind of feel it out. But basically, I want them to ask, like, why are you asking? Or why would you want to know when I'm showing the property next? And here's the answer. I'm asking because I want to make sure I don't waste your time. So right there and right off the bat, I'm telling you, I just don't want to waste your time. I'm an agent in the area. And because there are so few homes on the market, I'm having to preview for sale by owners and market them to my clients. I currently don't have a specific buyer for your home, so I figured I would piggyback on one of your other showings. Would that be okay? So here's a tactic no other agent is using. I'm here to not waste your time, right? I'm actually don't have a buyer for your home. I'm being straight up about that. But here's the deal. The market's so hot that everybody who lists the properties are flying off the market. So I'm having to go preview homes. That's actually quite true. Anybody who markets their property properly in this market in a good area is selling the properties really quick. As you can notice that there's so many multiple offer situations out there. But here's this for sale by owner who wants to try it on their own and is going to sit on the market for months at a time until you help them. Okay. But at this point, all I want you to do is get to their house. Okay. So, would that be okay? If they say, well, I don't have a showing coming up, then your next step is, oh, do you think it would be okay if I set up a time and preview it on my own? It's free marketing for you, and you would have one more person helping sell your home. Okay, it's hard to say no to that. It really is. And when you get there, you're going to add so much value that it's going to be, they're going to be happy that they did, right? So, and you can kind of feel it out. If they say, oh, are you just trying to list my home? You say, no, don't worry. I'm not there to pitch you on anything. I'm not selling you anything. I truly just want to go there. And if it's okay with you, I want to take some pictures and get my marketing together so I can present. And I'll ask you a few questions about the home so I can start presenting this to my clients that are looking in the area. Okay. So this phone call, the main thrust of the phone call, you don't have to do this exact script, but the main thrust of this phone call is, one, I'm not looking to waste your time. I'm looking to piggyback on a showing you already have. I don't have a specific buyer, but I do have to market, for sale by owners to my clients because the market is so hot. So anybody who lists their home flying off the market, I'm having to preview for sale by owners so I can have more options for my clients. That's the main thrust of the call, guys. If you do this, I'm telling you, every agent that has used it has gotten appointments. It's easy. They want to sell their home. Remember, so letting another realtor who works with buyers in the house is actually not a stretch. It's actually a good thing for them, okay? Okay, so what do you do when you get there? Okay, so you've made the appointment. You've got 3 appointments for next week for sale by owners. What do you do when you get to the property? Okay, step one. Step one is always like, hey, introduce yourself. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Before, I get started with anything, would you be okay if you kind of gave me the story of the home and the tour and just tell me everything, and that's it. Let them talk, walk you around the house. And as they walk you around the house, I would actually have a notebook with you and be writing things down, like, hey, you remodeled this part of the house. Okay, cool. When did you remodel it? A couple years ago. Okay, kitchen remodel 2 years ago. You see something there, a little stain on the roof. Hey, is that a new leak or has that been there? Oh, no, that's been there. Okay, cool. So that's not an issue. Oh, you got your roof replaced recently? Oh, fantastic. Ask them questions. And then they're also going to start telling you personal stuff. So don't be scared to ask them about their life. I mean, they probably got pictures of their family everywhere. Oh, I see your son went to, the greatest school of all time, University of Florida, or whatever the case may be. Build some rapport in the things that they're showing you and the things about their life. Look closely at the condition of the property and then ask about any feedback they've gotten. So get them talking about, so if they've been on the market for a little bit doing for sale by owner, ask them, hey, what have people been saying? The people that you have showed, what's gone on. And then we can get some of the stories that have happened, because this is what you're going to hear. You're going to hear, oh, some people offer me some really low stuff, or people think that it's overpriced, or people complain about this, or I had somebody that I thought was serious and the deal fell through. The guy couldn't get financing. I mean, they're going through all these nightmares that they could avoid if they would have just used a professional realtor like yourself. Okay. So get the story and the tour. Next. Then after you get the tour, say, hey, would it be okay if I just ask you a few brief questions? So, use this document here and just ask some, don't take a ton of their time. It makes you look professional, that you actually have a list of questions that you want to ask them that are really, really important. So first and foremost, and by the way, this is kind of a listing appointment. They don't know it, but it's happening, right? So why are you selling your home? Why would you sell this beautiful home and move out of this area? And get their story. Is it relocation? Is it, they got to get a bigger house because their family's growing, whatever the case may be. So find out their motivations. Second question, ideally, when would you want to move? So let's find out the time frames, because, sometimes, people are quite unrealistic about how long it takes to sell homes. So if they say some things like, oh, I want to be out of here by summer, and before school starts. Well, August is like around the corner. Like, if you haven't gotten a contract on your house yet, remember that it's going to take 30 to 45 days, even when you get a contract to close. So we really need to be getting a contract in the next 3 to 4 weeks if we're going to make that happen. So you can start getting some ammunition for those type of conversations. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is pristine condition and 1 would be needs work, where does your home rate? I want them to give me an honest opinion about where they think their home's at. Does it need updating? Is it kind of beat up? Or did they just remodel last year and this thing's like a 10? Are there any repairs that need to be made? Let's start getting them talking about the things that need to be done and could be wrong with the house. And then what's the age of the roof and AC? These are common questions you always want to ask a homeowner, because buyers will always ask you these things because they're big expenditures. Are you willing to make repairs or upgrades to the home, or would you like to sell the home as is? If yes, how much are you willing to spend? So are we just selling this the way it is? Are you planning on doing some stuff before we get it? You sell it, or what, and find out how much they're willing to spend. If they don't want to spend anything, then you kind of know where their head's at, right? And then the last question, what was the process for pricing? How did you come up with the current price? It's kind of out of curiosity. I want to get into their head. Like, why did they price it where they priced it? And they might be priced right on the money. Who knows? They're just not selling it because they're not getting attention on it. But it's always good to get into the mindset of how they came up with the number, because you're going to have to work on that down the road, especially if you get the listing. Okay. So there's your little interview. So now you've gone through the story and the tour and the interview. You've probably done more for this person already in talking to them and building rapport than they've ever had an agent do for them. So you're adding value all the time. Okay. So here's 7 ways to add value with this client. You don't have to do all 7 things or offer all 7 things. I want you to learn all the 7 things you can do, and then find a avenue to introduce this value add. And you might not do it all in the first time you meet them. You might, meet them, add some value, and then follow up with them, 2 weeks later, ask them how it's going. What kind of feedback have you gotten? Hey, and then offer them something else of value, so take all of these, learn them, and then introduce them as you kind of get the feel of the situation where you are. Now, also, let me just say this, if somebody basically tells you, hey, look, I want to get this thing listed. I'm frustrated. I want to get this thing going. You don't necessarily have to, go through this whole spiel, right? Like, when somebody's telling you they want to be closed, close them, but usually when a for sale by owner wants to sell it on their own, they want to give it a shot, right? So, if they say something like, oh, are you just trying to list my home? I'm like, oh, obviously you want to sell the home on your own. You wouldn't for sale by owner it. So I'm not trying to get you away from that, but I'll try to help you any way that I can, because I know how tough it is selling homes, and especially when you're trying to do it on your own. So here's 7 ways you can add value. 7 levels of value. You want to make the most money, add the most value. That's my boy Tony Robbins says that, okay? So first thing, pictures and a flyer. So usually the pictures are the easiest thing to spot that they're screwing up on, okay? So you've looked at their property on Zillow. The pictures are horrendous. They didn't take them properly. They got clutter all over the house. The grass is growing out. I mean, I just don't understand sometimes how people plan to sell it. But you'll know that because you will have seen that property on Zillow. So when you come in, you already know usually, hey, I can actually take better pictures than they've got right now. And I want you to use that as a value add tool, right? So pictures and a flyer. There's a website called, on the bottom of the screen here, canva.com, okay? Canva.com is a website that you can go to. You can do free flyers. They got great templates. I always like to choose stuff that looks really hot and clean, and they do a really good job of them. So you could do a nice flyer for them, but go in their house and say, hey, look, I've seen your pictures. Maybe even have their Zillow thing printed out. I'm just like, look, if it's okay with you, let me retake some of these pictures, you know? And this means that you got to get, you know, that's part of why the story and the tour is so important, so you can get them comfortable with you, because you're going to ask them to do uncomfortable things like, hey, would it be okay if I moved your couches out of the way, took that rug out of the living room, open up this beautiful wood tile floor that you have, and let me retake the picture for you? Because right now, when I'm looking at it on Zillow, one, you know, the exterior front picture, and this, no offense, but it doesn't really do the property justice. And I'm like, the next 3 to 4 pictures have to be the most attractive things about the home. Okay, so there's no need to have 5 pictures of the exterior front. Okay, one great picture, and then the rest is, you know, what's amazing about the home. Is it the kitchen? Is it the pool area? Is it the view? Is it the amazing wood tile floors? Whatever it is, I want to showcase that. So would it be okay if I moved all this crap out of here and took some great pictures? Or same thing, hey, you know what? You have an amazing kitchen, granite countertops, but I'm looking at your pictures, and the crazy part is it's so hard to see how beautiful the kitchen is with all the stuff that was on the countertops and on the refrigerator. Would it be okay if I took all those magnets off the refrigerator and all this shit you got, and then all these appliances and everything off just for a second, so I can get this great shot of these countertops in your kitchen? Okay, so practice taking great photos as part. You have to do that anyway. That's part of the listing process. So this is the chance for you to show them value right off the bat. Say, hey, tell you what, if you allow me to take some of these pictures, what I'll do is I'll create a flyer for you, and if you give me your email, I'll email you the flyer. That way you can print out that flyer and hand it to the people who are coming to your house. They're gonna love you for that. Oh, absolutely. And you can even get the pictures that I took, okay? And they're gonna be like, wow, you're like the nicest person ever. You're like, no problem. So go to canva.com, create a nice flyer for them. This is what it'll look like, or you can design anyway. This is just one that I picked from Canva, but you know, something like this, you know, a traditional seller doesn't even know how to do, you know, unless they're like a marketing person or whatever. They'll think you're like a hero because you emailed them a PDF of this flyer, but it's just something of value add that's easy for you to do, that you're going to want to do anyway. Because guess what? This whole tactic of a marketing off-market FSBOs to your clients is actually a great value add for buyers. This is actually something you should do. You basically have your off-market MLS with all these FSBOs, okay? So another thing you can offer them is you can feature the property on your website. So if you guys need to get proficient at KV Core, that's your back-end CRM. This is a way to get free leads and free marketing. They have a very, very powerful system. One of the things it allows you to do is actually manually input a listing so that people who come to your website can look at the listing. Now, what are the chances somebody's going to like be interested in that particular thing since it's not on the MLS? It doesn't matter. I'm adding some kind of value to this for sale by owner, saying, hey, look, I'm going to actually feature you on a page on my website. It's a big deal, okay? So this is what it'll look like. Something like this on the website. It'll show these are 2 properties as samples that I put into my KV Core site, and I can actually go on my website and they'll pop up. So that's pretty cool, right? So here you are, an agent that comes to the door. You ask them a story, you interview them, you give them some tips, you do a flyer for them. You're gonna email the flyer to them, and you're gonna feature them on your website, you know, which is part of the reason you're taking great pictures. Man, like already I'm thinking that you're the best thing since sliced bread, okay? So this is how you build a value-added relationship, okay? Next, what can you offer them? How about open houses? Guys, you know, high-end home open houses, whether they're listed or not, are gonna get you clients. Why wouldn't you offer that? Why wouldn't you offer to do open houses, okay? So that's free marketing and free clients, you know? So what's the value of open houses to a seller? One, more exposure, right? I'm doing free marketing for you. Okay, you're not going to get the power of the MLS. That's one thing you will not get. So you're going to have to manually put this property up, you know, Craigslist, You might tell them to list the open house on their Zillow for sale by owner account for you so that people draw more attention. You're going to do social media marketing, and you're going to do signs and balloons. Now, is it as powerful as doing an open house with the backing of the MLS? No, it's not, but you're going to get clients. And you're going to do things like door knock the day before, so you start meeting the people in the neighborhood. Wouldn't it be cool to let them, hey, I'm doing an open house on James's home down the street. We'll be doing a private showing for the people in the neighborhood from 11 to 12. Would love for you to stop by. Oh, wasn't James for sale by owner? He is actually for sale by owning his home, but I have offered to do free open houses for him. It's really tough to sell your home for sale by owner, and I want to offer that service for him. So we'll be doing an open house tomorrow. Don't you think that seller's going to be like, dude, I've never heard an agent say that. That's pretty amazing. So you're going to build those relationships in the neighborhood. So what's the value of the open houses to the seller? More exposure, less work for them, more showings at one time. Remember, for sale by owner is actually having to show people the home on their own, and that's a lot of work. I mean, you're an agent, showing homes is not an easy thing, and they're having to take time off of work, or they're trying to make time and all this stuff. And here you are offering to do an open house on one day where you can funnel a lot of people at the same time. I think that's amazing. Open houses are an opportunity for them to get feedback on their home. So you can say, hey, look, I've had 4 or 5 people come today. Here's what they've said about the home. And they keep mentioning this, rotting wood by the door. We need to probably address that. I mean, that would help you sell it. I've had 3 or 4 people mention that, or whatever the case may be. Okay. And then obviously there's a buyer. So remember that when you're talking to the for sale by owner and you're offering these things, it's under the assumption that they're willing to pay 3% to a buyer's agent. They always trying to sell. They're trying to save on listing commissions, but the buyer's commission they're usually willing to give. So, they say, oh, why would you do that? Well, obviously I want to find a buyer for you. And I'm assuming that if I do, you'll pay me 3% for finding you that buyer. I know you're trying to save on the listing commission, but I'm assuming that you would be open to paying a buyer's agent. Is that correct? And most of them are hip to the game and will say, absolutely, we can do that. Fantastic. Okay. And just so you know, if you do get a buyer for them, you will have them sign a commission agreement. We're just not going to take their word for it. And then you can talk to me about that and make sure that you guys are protected. Okay. Okay, what's the value of open houses to you? 1, a buyer for the home and commission. So they're willing to pay 3%. You find them a buyer, you're going to be a hero. But the main thing is new clients, new people from the neighborhood, people driving by, people who are not represented by other agents. Man, you can build a pretty sick book of business. That's the way I started back in the industry. I used to be a mortgage broker. When I switched to being full-time realtor about 5-6 years ago, that's how I did it, is open houses, just crushing it, meeting people face-to-face, building relationships, writing all their information down and following up, and lather, rinse, repeat, lather, rinse, repeat. Okay. Opportunity to connect with other owners in the neighborhood. Once again, don't waste your opportunity to go door knock. You're door knocking for a reason that isn't bothering somebody. It's literally to invite them to something great. Hey, I just want to let you know, Mr. Smith down the road is for sale by owner in his house. You've probably seen it. I'm gonna be doing some open houses for him. Would love for you to stop by tomorrow. I'm gonna do something special for the people who live in the neighborhood, and I'm gonna show them what the sale of this home is gonna mean to them. So if you want to come a little bit early, I'll have some cookies out for you, some mimosas, or you don't have to say all that stuff. But if you're that kind of person, do it. Do anything to make your brand even stronger. And then finally, building value. A value-added relationship with the seller, right? So here's another thing that we just did for them. It cost them nothing, right? It's your time and your effort, and you're willing to invest in them. Okay, ways to market your open house. Okay, you're gonna have to market this open house once again manually. So social media all week, Craigslist and other websites, door knocking flyers, signs and balloons. And once again, if they have an account for sale by owner on Zillow, I think that they allow them to market their open houses on Zillow. So you tell them, hey, I'm doing it from 12 to 4 on Saturday. Can you please put my name in your Zillow account so that that you're doing an open house from 12 to 4 so we get as much traffic as possible, okay? Okay, so another thing we can value add, okay? Remember, this is starting to look a lot like a listing presentation, but it isn't. It's just value add stuff. I call this a no-cost home strategy evaluation. Okay, what does that mean? It's basically a comp or giving them the value of free pricing assessment, right? So, this is where most sellers screw up, is pricing their property. And so gives them another chance to explain, where you want to be. What's the sweet spot? The sweet spot is, trying to get my mouse thing to work. The sweet spot is going to be right in the middle in that orange section, that market value spot, right? Or even just below it. Because you can see that if you hit market value, you're getting a really nice amount of attention. It says 60%, but look what happens when you overprice it by 10%. When you're plus 10%, you drop to 30%. You drop half of your attention on the property, okay? So it's a good time to explain to them that what you want to do is get maximum attention. To get maximum price, you want to get maximum attention, right? Which means you want to have as many people come see this house and compete for the house as possible. If you overprice this home, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to cut down your attention. You're going to get way less people at your home, and your property is going to sit on the market for a long, long time. Why do people overprice? Well, they think that if they price it high, somebody's going to offer them low, and they're going to meet somewhere in the middle. It does not work this way. What happens is that if you're supposed to be priced at 300 and you want to price it at 325, what's going to happen is that all the people that should be buying your house actually are on searches for $300,000 homes. They're not even seeing your home because you're up there at 325, pretending like, you know, that should be the price, you know, and what happens? Your home's going to sit on the market, sit on the market, sit on the market till eventually, once you're 30, 60 days in, you're going to drop the price finally to where it needed to be. But at this point, your listing is stale and everybody thinks there's something wrong, and they're going to offer you even less for this property. And by the way, you will have made payments, you know, potentially, you know, 2 or 3 months of additional mortgage payments. So you just ate into your profit, right? All this shit that they were trying to save by not having a proper listing agent, they're actually getting eaten up by payments and taxes and insurance and all this stuff. They think they're being so smart by not marketing this properly and trying to save here and save there that they're actually costing themselves more money than you would cost, right? To do this right for them. So we want to get this in the sweet spot, right? When that orange area just below. So, because here's the deal. Most sellers are going to be scared that, what if I underprice it and then I shot myself in the foot? No, you won't, because in a hot market like ours, if you underprice a home, what's going to happen? Oh my gosh, you're going to get 5, 6 contracts. And guess what you're going to do as an agent? You're going to go to each one of those contracts and say, give me your highest and best. Give me your highest and best. Give me your highest and best. And you're going to have them all competing against each other. And guess what's going to happen to the price? Right? So you might actually end up getting above list price, which happens all the time in a competitive situation. So don't be scared about underpricing your home. Be very scared about overpricing your home. Okay? Then the other thing is, make sure your buyers are pre-approved. Hey, you know what? I want to offer you something because I know that a lot of people come out around here kicking tires, and I know that a lot of people can't actually buy your home. They either don't have the cash to do it or can't get approved for a home. So I want to connect you to my mortgage broker with Home First Lending. In this case, I have Javier Rivas here, right? So I want to connect you with Javier Rivas with Home First Lending. He's a guy that I trust and I use. And what I want you to do is make sure that when anybody makes you an offer, number one, that you ask them for a pre-approval letter and see who their lender is. Okay. And if they do give you that, fantastic. I would make the call to that lender to make sure that buyer is solid before you put your property off the market and start working with somebody who can't actually get qualified. But if you don't have anybody, I'd love for you to use me as a resource. Please feel free to use my guy at Home First Lending. I'll connect you by email, so that way you have somebody. So if somebody comes in and says, oh, I love your home, I want to put in a contract, but they don't, they're not pre-qualified yet, you send them over here to figure out where, you know, if they can actually get qualified. I mean, already, you're adding so much value, and you don't have to add it all at once, but look at all these easy things you can do. You can create a package just like this, right? You can actually just print this out and come in there and say, hey, look, here's what just print them out, this kind of stuff. So the other thing is how about a title company? You know, sellers are going to need a title company. Sellers traditionally choose the title company. They don't even know that. They don't even know that they usually have to choose it, and they usually don't have anybody. So connect them to our partner, Celebration Title Group. Why not? You know, build that connection. It's gonna be great for you, because the more business you send Celebration Title or Home First Lending, the better relationship you're gonna have with them, and the more things that they're gonna be able to sponsor for you and do for you because you send them business, right? So here's the title company. Do you have a title company, Mr. For Sale by Owner? Oh no, I didn't even think about that. Well, I just want to let you know, I work with a great one. Here's the information. Feel free to use them. I'll connect you by email. You're going to have a title company. This is the company that's going to check the title, make sure the title is clear. issues title insurance. They're going to make sure all the numbers are done correctly, all the paperwork done correctly. They're basically the lawyer in the transaction. They even hold the escrow deposit that the buyer puts. So like, this is a very important company. I want to make sure you have one. If you have your own, cool. If not, feel free to use my partner. Okay. Value add, value add. And finally, 1% closing management. So this is something you can offer that, kind of came up with over time. And it's just a way for you to get paid and to add something of value. I mean, for sell by owners usually go with a realtor because they can't sell it. But in the event that they actually do get a contract and somebody wants to buy it, well, let me ask you this. If that person's not represented, who's writing the contract? If that person's not represented, who's making sure they're pre-qualified? If that person's not represented, who's managing the process? If that person's not represented, not only who's writing the contract, but who's protecting the seller, and in this case, the buyer, from writing a contract that might screw either of them, okay? Who's going to set up the stuff for the inspections and appraisals? Do you even know how the process goes? Man, you know all this stuff. So why don't you offer them, say, hey, when you see the opening, say, hey, and by the way, if you happen to get a contract or somebody come in and doesn't know how to write a contract, or you do get a contract, but you don't know if the contract is written properly or whatever, I'm willing to offer a 1% closing management fee. So what I'll do for you is I'll make sure the buyers are pre-qualified. So I'm going to check on their lender. And if not, I'm going to get qualified with my lender. I'm going to review the contract to protect you. I'm going to negotiate, right, for you, because that's another aspect of this that you're going to have to do. Obviously, somebody's going to come in. Maybe they offer you something you don't want. We got to go back and forth and negotiate. We also have to negotiate if they want money for repairs and things like that. So these are all things that can happen in a transaction. And then manage the inspection process, the appraisal process, and the financing. I'm going to do that for you. And then I'll make sure the title company handles the paperwork properly and gets your deal closed the way it's supposed to be. I will do all of that for 1%. But remember, that's assuming they already had the buyer. You didn't have to do anything but take the buyer in. I offer that. I think that it's going to be a rare occasion. Most of the time, they won't sell the property and they're just listed with you. But why not? It's a value add thing. If it's a $400,000 house, 1% is $4,000. I'll take $4,000 for managing the process. Okay, so this is just something else that you can be creative with and offer. Okay, and finally, to kind of end it off, what I would like you to think is, once again, it's all about value add, is how can you be a resource to this person? So don't always have to be real estate related. Just say, hey, how else can I help you? Is there any connections that you need, any contacts you need? What's anything else I can do to help? I'm very connected in Orlando. So, and I work in an office with over 100 agents that are super connected as well. So anything you pretty much need, you can call me for. Why do I want them to do that? Because I want them connected to you in any way, shape. Anytime you get to talk to that person and help them, they're going to want to work with you. And that's it. People want to work with people they like and they trust, and people who add massive value. So they're like, oh, actually, I got a leaky pipe and I've been looking for a good plumber. No problem. Let me go to my office. I'll do some research. I'll talk to some of my agents. I'll have you a plumber by this afternoon. I mean, for the few minutes it would take you to find that person for them, don't you think that would pay huge dividends down the road? So that's the FSBO strategy, guys. Use it. For the people who feel like this is a strategy they can employ, I'm telling you, all you have to do is be consistent. You will get better and better and better at this, and you will be setting up 3 to 4 to 5 appointments a week, and you will have, once the pipeline starts to build, you're going to be a listing king or queen. Okay. All right, guys, have a great day.